So last week I did a brief demonstration of how the tortilla roller works, and I posed the question, what do you want to see, a full build video or the footage from when I built this unit? So what I've decided to do is to, in this video, show the footage that I took while building this, and in about a week or so I'm going to do a full build video plus a website article on this roller. So this video is a little bit long. I cut it down as much as I possibly could. It also has a couple of very annoying lens flares in it. I was trying out a lens filter for my camera to try to keep some of the dust and dirt out of the inside of the camera, and it caused those lens flares. So I'm not going to be using that anymore. Anyway, here it is, and I hope you like it. I've decided that, I would try to spend at least one day per week in my shop and try to do some random project and just get it done that day and see how it turns out. But the last one like this was my pry bar knife, and that worked out well. Today I want to make, I really like homemade tortillas, so I want to make a tortilla roller type thing. You put the dough on the top and then you roll it through and it rolls out the tortilla flat. I actually, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I built Steve Ramsey's tortilla press, the one with the lever, and I didn't have a lot of luck with that. The problem with that is you have to try to do it all in one swipe, and if your dough is a little bit wet, it winds up sticking to everything, and it just didn't work for me. So what I want to do with this is make a couple of rollers that will pull the dough through, and you can adjust the thickness, and I'm going to see how that works. Well, I just came out here and I just sketched something up. Now this is not a very nice looking plan, I know, but it's the basic idea. Here's a roller here, and on the end are a couple of gears that will mesh together, and out of this, the end of this one is this really nice looking crank. And here's your side view of the mechanism. It has a base and that'll sit flat, and then it has two arms that go up, and the rollers are in each one of these, and then you got two knobs that you'll be able to adjust it in and out to make the tortilla really nice and thin. So to make the rollers, I've got a piece of maple here that I'm going to cut 12 inches long. I'm going to cut it down to 1.5 inches square and use the lathe to round them out. I changed my mind. I'm not going to make them 12 inches long. I don't think that I need to, and I'm a little bit concerned about them deflecting a little bit in the middle, so the shorter they are, the stronger they'll be. So I got my center marker thing here, and I'm just going to mark the center on both pieces on both ends and put it in the lathe and do some turning, something I don't often do. I've got the first blank in the lathe here, and I'm getting ready to rough it in round. Now, I'm going to say this up front that I don't use traditional turning tools for turning. I don't do enough to invest in a good set. I use normal chisels. That's the way I learned way back, and it seems to have worked for me so far, so I'm going to stick with that. That's what I know. Check and see how straight I am. These don't have to be perfect, but it's nice to get them close. I'm a little bit narrow in the middle here, so I'm just going to taper out the ends here, and then it should be good. And that's pretty nearly exactly perfect. Alright, well originally I was going to try to put a shaft in each end, like a bolt or a screw or something, but then I got to thinking that any error that I have there will put that roller out around, and then as you're rolling it around it'll get thicker and closer together. So I figured that the best way to make these so that they're exact is to turn down the ends about a ½ inch of each end down to 1 inch to fit in a 1 inch hole so that the rollers ride in that. Unfortunately, my rollers are getting a little bit short now, so I maybe should have left them 12 inches, and then I would wind up with 11 inches, or at least 11 inches, then I'd wind up with the 10 that I originally thought, or that I thought when I made these. So they'll wind up being 9 inches, so I'll get smaller tortillas. You know, I need to lose some weight anyway. I should tighten that up. That's me, Mr. Safety. Look at that. Perfect. Now I'll just do the other end. Now a little bit left on the end here. I'm just going to trim that off with my knife. Not a big deal. I've also cut the upright pieces from maple. I cut those about 11/16 of an inch thick. I'm going to drill 1 inch holes in these fairly precisely for these rollers to mount in. Alright, well, a little bit of a mistake. The thing is, this upright is 1.5 inches, and the rollers now are less than 1.5 inches because the piece that I started out with was 1.5 inches, and then I turned it down flat. And if I put both the rollers in this centered on these uprights, you're not going to be able to adjust it in close enough. It'll probably wind up being like 3/16 of an inch. So what I really should have done was drill this hole further that way, further towards the middle, so that I actually have more meat on this side of the upright to, you know, take the load of the rollers, and it will put the rollers back closer together. So I'm gonna cut these uprights shorter to get rid of this one that I already drilled, and then re-drill them in a new position. Now I drilled the uprights, the new hole positions, and that's the way that goes, like that. So now that the roller is actually projecting past the edge, and that's good. And the places that I turned down fit well. It's just to take this now and glue and screw it onto the base so that the rollers are fairly tight together. Before that, I have to try to make some sort of adjustment situation here. Alright, so I've got these uprights done. I've got the threaded rod put in, each one. I've got lock nuts on both, and the way this works is the threaded rod is free to turn, but it will stay in position on the upright. And the other side, there's the other one over here. The other side gets a T-nut on the inside part. I just got to push that in, and then I can thread that together. I forgot that both rollers have to be in before I glue and screw this on. This is not my day. That in there. Try again. These two are glued and screwed. This one kind of pivots, so it takes a single screw here and no glue. I've drilled a countersink fairly deep and a pilot hole for this number 8 wood screw. I'll just drive that in. And it's just allows this to be free to move, and that'll be good. It's been screw up after screw up after screw up on this, but I think I finally got it to where it's reasonably right. Originally I had the T-nuts on the inside of this piece, and I don't know what I was thinking there, so I took them out and I moved them to the outside. That's where they're supposed to be. Now it works the same way as I demonstrated by turning the thing, except now the T-nut will come out. I also put screws in to hold it in on this side so that it will pull the jaws of the rollers apart. Now I'll loosen this up a little bit. You can see that both of the rollers roll well. All I need to do now is make spacers to go on the end here to bring it out, and then I need to cut a pair of gears that I printed off and put those on and see how it goes. Now these are the gears. I printed these off using Matthias Wandel's gear generator, which was very easy to do. All I had to do was measure the distance between my two rollers, the center to center mark, and then put that in the gear generator as the shaft spacing, and that gave me the exact size for the gears that I need. I've got these are 12 teeth, and I made them with a very sharp angle like this so that make them easier to cut with the bandsaw. Alright, here are my two spacers, and they go in there, and they're just a little bit thicker so that I've got some play here. So when I put the gear on, it'll have enough room to move. Okay, my battery's almost dead. I added a little bit of oil because it was a little bit tight, but just that little bit of oil really made it work well. Close them together a bit. English.